Ladies and gentlemen, sorry to interrupt yet another introduction of a Wrestling Rundown video, seeing as it was only 2 posts ago where we introed indie news, starting with recapping the recent passings of Blackjack Mulligan, Chris Travis, and Balls Mahoney. Now we regret to inform you, if you haven't heard yet, that we just found out that today being Wednesday, you're watching this on Thursday, the passing of WWE legend Chyna, who was found unresponsive in her home after not having contact with anybody for a few days prior when a friend went to check on her. Police are looking into it as a possible accidental overdose, as she was on multiple prescriptions. But as of this time, there were no illegal drugs found in the home. So it's all speculative. As of our time filming this, more details might have surfaced by the time this airs. Yeah, it's just unsettling and unhappy that we have to report another death so shortly after we've had, basically 4 within almost 1 month's time.
Yeah, because the other 3 that we talked about were literally within a 2-week span.
Yeah.
Starting from just before WrestleMania to just after, and now we're only 2 weeks removed from WrestleMania, and we're talking about another one.
Yeah. And we know that she had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But hopefully, especially within the wrestling community, she'll be remembered for the contributions that she made to the women's division of WWE and just the women wrestling look in general with, trying to take down the gender barriers, being the only woman to win the Intercontinental Championship, being the first woman to enter the Royal Rumble, constantly wrestling against guys.
Yeah, when I started watching wrestling, she was in her Intercontinental feud with Chris Jericho, so that was my introduction to Chyna and my introduction into women's wrestling, period. And yeah, I haven't necessarily followed her since she left WWE because she's done some sketchy things here and there, but you can't take away the fact that she was very important in what we enjoy in women's wrestling today.
Yeah, so on behalf of us, the Wrestling Rundown, we send our condolences to her friends and family, and I guess we got to move on. Let's hope we don't have to open up any videos like this for a long while, because I think it's too many too quickly.
Fingers crossed.
We'll see you in a brief moment for the midweek wrap-up. Welcome, folks, to this week's edition of the midweek wrap-up. Yeah, that's right, we're in the middle of the week and we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
We're going to cover a decent but not compellingly overwhelming grouping of main events, NXTs, and Lucha Undergrounds.
Yeah, it's kind of it's an average. It's a 7 to a 7.5 type of midweek.
Yeah, it's
not bad, but
not bad, but nothing super standout happening. And we're going to start with the main event, as we usually do.
Yes.
Shawn Michaels. Ladies and gentlemen.
No, that's the cup.
Oh.
It's the Shawn Michaels Cup. He's not actually here.
Dang, it's so real looking.
We're going to talk about main event, the show.
Oh.
Which you can find on Hulu.
Hulu!
We open up with Apollo Crews taking on Curtis Axel. Apollo Crews thinking that the whole deal with the social outcast was done and over with.
Yeah, as according to his win on Raw.
Yeah, but Curtis Axel still had some beef. They had a decent match though.
Yeah.
Curtis Axel getting to show his aggressive side, and he
Very
didn't have
so.
anybody in his corner.
No.
Neither Heath Slater nor Bo Dallas were there.
They're out searching for the newest member of the Social Outcasts to replace Adam Rose for the next 60 days.
Yes, and because Apollo Crews beat Heath Slater, so he can't take the spot.
Yeah, they're auditioning people right now.
But we had a great
Wade Barrett's like front runner.
That could very well be, and I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, you could say it'd be like some sort of like an ascension for Wade Barrett to go from the League of Nations to the Social Outcasts.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an ascension because you're going to a much more fun group as opposed to
much more entertaining stable because it doesn't have Sheamus.
Yeah. So we had Apollo Crews pick up a win over Curtis Axel. We had a fun end though where they kept reversing each other's finisher. Apollo Crews went for the cruise control.
I would call it the cruise missile.
The cruise missile?
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. So he went for the cruise missile, but Axel was able to turn it into a big headlock takeover.
Can we call it the Tom Cruise?
No, that's copyright.
Damn.
I think. And then Curtis Axel would try to go for the perfect plex, but Apollo was able to turn that around, spin Curtis Axel around, hit the enziguri, and then hit the cruise missile once again for the finish.
Yay!
And our second match was a messy women's match between Summer Rae and Alicia Fox. It was okay. Alicia Fox playing babyface is really strange.
Yeah. She's flopping around the past like year as much as Big Show does.
Yeah, and Summer Rae is still not clicking with the.
Not particularly. But she won with the Summer Crush.
Yeah, which is the standing leg drop.
Not to be confused with the Rusev Crush.
Yes, because Rusev Crush is better. And then in the main event we had a behemoth.
Summer used to say it.
Yes, a behemoth of a tag team match where we had Big Show and Kane taking on Rowan and Strowman of the Wyatt family.
Or Strowman.
Big Show really putting over the lone Wyatt family members, seeing as how now both Bray and Luke Harper are injured.
Yeah, well, you got rid of the mouthpiece and the talent of the group. So, in order to keep them relevant, you're going to need as many people as possible to really try to make Rowan and Strowman look effective.
And Rowan, I appreciate his want to take over the leadership role since he is the veteran as far as the stable is concerned and in wrestling, period. So he did a good job of really keeping control of the match and using Braun Strowman to his advantage to be the weapon.
Yeah, and Braun Strowman's best outing to date, for sure.
Yeah, Big Show sold everything so well.
And just watching him do more things than just like the normal...
he had a good big elbow drop that he threw in there.
More than just like the shoulder block and clothesline and head squeeze.
He had some good heavy strikes.
Watching him actually Irish whip and reverse and do all these things, it's that thing. It's like now that Strowman is one of the only two guys out of this, what is normally four, is he's actually going to have to pull a little bit more of the weight.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be difficult for a guy that big.
You hope. But the Wyatt family would end up losing after Braun Strowman gets low-bridged by Kane, and a double chokeslam puts Rowan out for good. Big Show and Kane pick up the win.
Yes.
Then we move on to NXT, still from WrestleMania Access. This is week 2, I believe. So we open up with the first ever tag team meeting between American Alpha and Enzo and Cass. A very fun tag team match.
Yeah, crowd was hot for this one because it's basically the two most popular teams on the roster.
Yeah, so they're having all kinds of fun with it. Enzo getting wrestled around by Chad Gable. The power struggle between Jason Jordan and Big Cass was fun. Some great chemistry from two really well-rounded tag teams.
Yeah, they wrestled each other very well.
Reversal!
But it lacked a little bit of a dynamic because there was no one to play like a heel role. Yeah, and I felt like both teams kind of were like...
Enzo and Cass...
Who you should take the
Enzo
advantage.
and Cass took it for the most part because they cut Gable off from Jordan for most of it. Cass was kind of playing a little bit more aggressive with Chad Gable while we were waiting for that hot tag.
Yeah, and I appreciated seeing Cass in the ring more often.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, I didn't realize it until watching this match, but I realized, like, you don't see Cass in the ring basically until he gets the hot tag from Enzo.
Exactly.
Like, he doesn't usually ever start the match.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually Enzo the entire time until Cass gets a hot tag in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool seeing Cass actually get in the ring and do a little bit more than usual. I'm hoping that now that they're on the main roster, that we get an opportunity to see Cass do a few singles matches.
I think there's a good chance we'll see that. But yeah, a great match all around. American Alpha picking up the win. Jordan was going for the shoulder thrust to Enzo, which was blocked by Cass.
Sacrificed himself.
Cass sacrificing himself. Enzo goes to the top and attempts a double axe handle, but gets caught by Jordan anyway. Gets tossed with a big belly to belly. It was great. Jordan actually put the straps back up so he could take the straps back down. Hit the spear in the corner, tagged in Chad Gable, assisted back suplex, and American Alpha pick up the win.
Yeah.
We had Apollo Crews. Talking to Samoa Joe. They'll be the main event of NXT, saying that Joe is good, and Apollo Crews is very capable himself, and he plans on showing Joe that in the ring. And he says, "Welcome to the age of Apollo."
Oh, I thought it was the age of Aquarius.
Nope.
All right.
Age of Apollo, bro. Then we had the debut of
Alexander Wolf
versus the debuting
No way.
Jose.
No way. Jose.
The crowd had so much
Jose. No way.
so much fun with this guy. I was entertained.
Jose. No way.
He
Jose. No way.
the way that I put it is he Fandangos better than Fandango does, because Fandango never actually integrated the whole dancing bit into the match. But No Way Jose actually does that with like going off. He they locked up and then there was a headlock and he was like, he's gonna keep going. Okay. He turned reversed an Irish whip and spun Alexander Wolf around, and it was so much fun. Crowd was getting into it.
The airplane spin shtick was funny.
Yeah, he spun around
and then he had to stop.
He's like, oh, okay, wait, yeah, I'm good. And he went back the other way. And the crowd doing the Jose. So yeah, lots of fun, and that's a good crowd to really get your jump into the NXT TV. Is you got all those people there for WrestleMania, and if you get an okay from those people, you got a good chance of making it. So good job, No Way Jose.
It could be the exact opposite though sometimes, because I feel like also if you're in the Hot Mania crowd, there's a good chance you're getting a good reaction just because you're the Hot Mania crowd, and you might just be a one-hit wonder for that week.
I hope.
I think the real test is going to be how No Way Jose gets over at the Full Sail Arena.
Yeah.
Because that's where you get your NXT kicks.
Yeah. So if the NXT crowd is into it, we might actually get to see him when we go.
I have no doubt.
So we'll have to see how much we like No Way Jose in person. But he picked up the win with he had a little bit of a baseball shtick. Towards where he did these batting double axe handles to the face. And then he had a
double bat handles.
He had a pitcher's wind up punch that he knocked Alexander Wolf out, and No Way Jose picks up the win.
Is baseball big in the Dominican Republic?
I always when I was watching, I was like, Jose Canseco was a baseball player, so that's kind of, and a lot of the Spanish countries that there is a lot of baseball in the Latin countries and whatnot, so maybe that's a thing. Moving on, we had Austin Aries addressing Baron Corbin, saying that his win at NXT Dallas was luck. Aries says, "I don't need luck."
No, it was a O'Connor roll.
Well, exactly. Aries says, "I don't need luck. I have skill," and he plans on proving that to anyone in the NXT locker room in the coming weeks. Seeing as how Baron Corbin is now on the main roster, we probably won't get Aries versus Corbin anymore. So
Probably not.
So no more opportunities there.
I mean, there might be a one-off because just for the fact that we still have like 1 or 2 more episodes of NXT from the WrestleMania weekend.
True. Speaking of opportunities, Regal realizes that Elias Sampson's been wanting an opportunity. He's been listening to his. He's been listening to his songs. Hearing what he's singing about. And he goes, and Elias is like, "What makes you think you know what I want?" And he goes, "Well, I'm gonna give you a chance because next week you get to face NXT's newest signee, Shinsuke Nakamura."
That's basically going, you did such a good job of losing to Apollo Crews that you're going to fight a guy who's even worse.
Ta-da!
Get ready to show how good you are at losing again.
Speaking of
That's
losing...
like just evolution of losing because he has to lose to Gargano, now he loses to Apollo Crews, and now he's going to have to go against Nakamura.
Yep.
Why don't we just like freaking put him against Big Show next week? Week after that, put him against like Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns in a handicap match.
You just want to kill this guy.
I'm just saying, like, let's just keep upping the ante, like bigger, more easy to lose in situations. And then at next takeover, he'll be going against Brock Lesnar in a suplex match.
Speaking of losing really well, we had Deonna Purrazzo try her luck at facing Nia Jax, and this went nowhere but down for Deonna Purrazzo.
As do a lot of her appearances.
Nia Jax. The only thing that made this match take any longer is that Nia Jax gave Deonna a chance to come back, and she failed, and she lost.
Yeah, Samoa drop and leg drop.
Yes.
So Nia Jax beats her with the drop.
Yep. And then speaking of getting beat up, as we were talking about, Elias Sampson's getting ready to get beat up. Deonna Purrazzo got beat up. Next week, get ready for this, Tony. I know you're watching. We get to watch Eva Marie get the shit kicked out of her by Asuka again.
Woo.
I'm so excited. And we had Bayley comment on it that Asuka's obviously the women's champion for a reason, and
yeah, because she beat Bayley.
Never look past Eva Marie.
Because
hard to do that when it's bright red flashing right fucking in front of you. Just saying.
Like your shirt.
Oh. I'll take my shirt off.
Leave it on.
Okay. We had our main event, which was Samoa Joe versus Apollo Crews. Very physical match between these two. Apollo Crews really having to rely on more of his strength as opposed to his quickness as far as Joe is concerned. But Joe, obviously, being Samoa Joe, having answers for all of those things. And Apollo Crews had a couple of really good moments where he had a chance of winning the match. But Joe just went on this streak at the end. Apollo Crews, very, very much in the same way we saw in his match against Chris Axel in the main event. He went for the Cruise Missile. I'll start calling it that. But Joe is able to elbow his way out.
I would have been really impressed to see him hit that on Joe.
Yeah, that would have been pretty impressive. And then he ends up getting into the corner. Apollo Crews goes for the avalanche and gets caught with the ST Joe. And then Joe, just to add insult to injury, jabs him in the face a couple times before he locks in the Coquina clutch, and Samoa Joe picks up the win via submission.
Yep. Every time Joe loses to Finn Balor, he just gets a little bit meaner.
That means if Finn Balor is champion by the next time Samoa Joe gets a title shot, Finn Balor's fucked. Hell, whoever's champion is fucked the next time Joe gets a shot at it. Alright, moving right on to Lucha Underground.
Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground.
Well, alright. This is... we're next week is going to be the finals of the Trios Championships.
Yeah.
We have one more Trios match set up for tonight. We open up with Phoenix, Drago, and Aerostar all sitting in Dario's
Team
office.
AAA.
who they were the only, they were in last year's trios tournament. They were
eliminated first.
Yeah, they were odds-on favorites to win, and then lost because Drago and Aerostar were having some issues at the time.
But they made it to the finals of the Chikara King of Trios tournament.
They did
later that year.
They did indeed. So obviously they're working together, but Dario's trying to change things up. So he says, you know what, Phoenix, I'll put you in the trios tournament, and tonight you and PJ Black and Jack Evans will face the Disciples of Death, while Aerostar and Drago will fight for an Aztec medallion.
Oh, snap.
We also find out that the winner of that trios match, plus the two other winners, will face in a 4-way trios match next week. They'll face off with the trios champions, Team Dysfunction, Team Havoc, Team Evilise, whatever you want to call it. In a
Team Pervy Pretty Boy.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's elimination or if it's one fall to a finish, but yeah, 4 trios teams heading into next week. That's gonna be crazy. We got a lot of stuff going on next week. But our first match is that Aztec medallion match between Aerostar and Drago. Aerostar hurting himself in this match, going for a high risk move and slipping off the ring.
Yeah, and he fell on the side that had the ring steps too.
Yeah.
So he fell, slipping on a springboard, and hit the apron, and then actually hit the stairs on the way down. Bumped his hip, and then he also had a landing on the floor.
Yeah, Drago picked him up and lawn darted him feet first, and he came down real hard on his leg.
Yeah, so
his whole left side was real messed up.
And hip and knee, so not a good. But he kept rolling with it.
No.
Even you could tell when he was trying to run across the ring for moves, he was limping, but he was still trying to do.
Yeah. No, I give him a ton of credit for keeping up, especially him and Drago kept pace really well despite the injury. Both of them. He pulled off that really sick lung blower on Drago too, which was a gnarly move. And I thought for sure Drago was going to win this because Aerostar was in the Gift of the Gods match last year.
Yeah.
So I thought they were going to give it to Drago, but Aerostar ended up picking up the win, hitting his I don't know, the Comet Splash. I don't know, it's the really heavy where he doesn't protect you at all. He just kind of lands on you.
Yeah.
And you don't really get up from that. But yeah, no, a great match, and a lot of respect to Aerostar for keeping on going. Speaking of Aztec medallions, Taya delivers the news to Johnny Mundo that she talked to Dario and demanded that Johnny Mundo gets an Aztec medallion. But
there's a catch.
Well, yeah, he didn't get a chance to go for one last year.
Yeah, but he was more important last year.
So he's expecting her to just hand one over, but classic Cueto, he has to compete for it. And of course, given the current storyline, who else would he face other than Cage?
And it's going to happen in a Steel Bryan match.
That's Cage's first name. It's a cage match. It's the
it's
the first cage match in Lucha Underground.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
First cage match for an Aztec medallion. Brian Cage, the effing machine, taking on Johnny Mundo. And Johnny Mundo, he's not too happy. He beat up his little I don't know what that thing is called.
With a lot of cheesy sound effects.
Yeah, that's right. So next week on Lucha Underground,
Cage match.
Cageception.
Cage match and a 4 corners trios match.
Yes, and let's figure out who that 4th team is going to be. We know the champions are in it. We know Team Flippy Doo, a.k.a. Rey Mysterio, Prince Puma, and Dragon Azteca Jr., and we have
Joe Crew and Joey Ryan.
I was trying to come up with a clever name.
Cops and Robbers.
Awesome. Okay. Team Cops and Robbers will be joined by the winner of this next team.
Oh, I'm sad I didn't think of a wrestling thing I could have thrown in there too.
What?
I want to come Team Cops and Jobbers.
We'll go with that. Team Cops and Jobbers. Phoenix, Evans, Black taking on the Disciples of Death. We had a really funny dynamic with Phoenix, Evans, and Black because PJ Black started the match, and every time he faked a tag to Phoenix, and then went to tag in Jack, and Jack says, "No, you're doing fine. Just keep going. You're doing great." and he kind of lost momentum for a bit. He was able to get momentum back, and he went for a tag again. And Jack made him wait. He goes, "No, I'm stretching. I can't get injured."
Well, like after the first time that Jack Evans wouldn't tag in, and PJ Black went for a pin, Phoenix came in and jumped off of PJ Black's back.
Yes.
And like Hurricane Ronald one, and then he dove to the outside and again got up, favoring his leg.
Yes.
So now we got 2 matches in a row where somebody goes to the outside on a dive type thing and ends up like hurting themselves.
Yes.
But
which
Phoenix,
comes with the territory.
Phoenix made a much better recovery.
Yes. Yeah, he wasn't hurting nearly as much as Aerostar was. But yeah, so we had some back and forth. Jack finally tags in after he does the stretches, and then he like talks. Like PJ Black is holding Barrio Negro there, and he's like, "Come on, hit him." He goes, "You are about to witness the greatest move ever!" And then he gets tripped up by Sinestro and crotched on the post. And he goes, "Oh my God, PJ, get me out of here! This is awful. This is awful."
So PJ actually has to just like let go,
Step out
of the ring, and then slap.
And then tag. God, Jack Evans was ridiculous. So bunch more shit happens. We end up getting.
Jack Evans ends up coming in and doing a bunch of flippy do kicks.
Yeah, that was his tribute to the match. It was just a bunch of like looked like Eddie Gordo from Tekken kicks. But so
he is white.
We
Eddie
get
Gordo.
some unintentional teamwork between PJ Black and Phoenix, where Phoenix sets Barrio Negro up on the top rope, and when he goes up for a Danger Rana, PJ Black had his hands up in the air, and so he tags PJ off of the Rana, and then tells PJ hit the 450. So PJ hits a springboard 450, and then he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I tagged you. We need to do the thing." And then one disciple goes over.
Yeah, I feel like it was like an explanation of what was going on, where Phoenix was like, "Okay, we tag again, so you do a dive over the top rope, and I'll hold my hand out, and we tag as the thing's happening."
Oh, and then here comes the second disciple, and they drop him over. So then
they're like, "Fuck you, we're talking."
So yeah,
Don't interrupt.
So then Phoenix gets out of the ring, and PJ does a dive, tags in Phoenix, and he's getting ready to dive.
He's getting ready to do a 450.
Well, Barrio is standing up at this point, so
yeah.
he's going to knock down Barrio somehow. But Jack Evans jumps and goes, "Now I'm going to show you how it's done. Watch closely." And then he does a dive onto the two guys on the outside.
After he kicked Barrio.
Yeah, he kicks Barrio down, which allows Phoenix to go up and hit a really fancy springboard 450, and the Unlikely Trio is heading to the finals. So, Team Flippy-Doo 2, Cops and Jobbers, and Team Dysfunction, all for the Trios Championships. Next week, 4 Corners Trios match.
Should be fun.
And this would be the end of the Disciples of Death, because Katrina is not happy.
As you'd expect.
She got them a second chance. She got Mil Muertes to forgive them, and they fucked it up again. And so she says, "Give me one reason as to why."
And it's extra bad because Phoenix ended up being the one to pin them.
Which is the one that she wants completely destroyed. So
or to have sex with.
Same thing. Destroy. Well, kind of same.
Destroy him in bed.
Yes. So she says, "Give me one good reason as to why I shouldn't destroy all of you right now." And Sinestro ends up pulling the hearts of both Trece and Barrio Negro out and becoming like the ultimate disciple of death as they crumble into ash. And so now I feel like we're going to get a really like ultra scary Sinestro in the coming weeks. And maybe like him and Mil Muertes and Katrina will now be a trio. Maybe they'll win the Trios Championships.
Maybe.
Never know. So, yeah, that is the thing. Speaking of Mil Muertes, we're going on to our main event. Which is for the Lucha Underground Championship. Mil Muertes getting his rematch against Matanza.
Yeah. Mil Muertes never got a rematch when he lost the title in the first place.
Exactly.
So, here it is. It's not against the guy who beat you for it. It's against the much larger, scarier guy who beats up everyone.
And
kills people.
They beat the fuck out of each other.
They did.
This was a very physical match. This match was so physical that Dario and Chyna got hurt in this match.
Yeah, it was so physical that when Mil Muertes hip tossed Matanza over the top rope, he landed on the outside and hurt his leg. Running theme
3
of
for 3.
Lucha Underground.
3 for 3. All 3 matches had somebody hurting their leg. Going over Matt Striker's like, he pretty much, I think he broke his leg.
Well, Matanza had the most awkward
he had a gnarly landing.
Like, his leg was, like, bent in a weird position when he landed, but I didn't think it was full-on leg broke.
No, he got up.
It did gimp him for the rest of the match, though. He was limping.
But he did get up. He kept going. He ended up saving Dario Cueto because Mil Muertes, after tossing Matanza over, was just fucking nailing Matanza with punches to the face.
Dario Cueto's like, I bet I'll rescue him if I slap Mil Muertes on the back.
The look on his face when he this was the moment that Dario Cueto realized he done
fucked up.
And Mil Muertes just stares at him.
Too.
And yeah, they're like, oh. And so Mil Muertes ends up like double choke,
holding like a Mexican Jimmy Hart. Because the hair stayed perfect.
Yeah. He's holding Dario up over his head. Matanza ends up saving him by hitting him with a chair.
This basically repeats in about a minute and a half when they're over by the commentary table and Chyna decides she's going to slap Matanza.
But with a rock.
Yeah.
She slaps him with a rock. So.
Well, just maybe thinking that rock would beat paper.
And so then, yeah, she ends up getting choked, which she's kind of into that. And then Mil Muertes ends up saving her. And then they end up getting like this can or a keg or something that they start beating the shit out of each other with.
While they're going upstairs.
They're heading up the stairs. And you know in Lucha Underground this is never a good thing. This is always, something terrible always happens when they go up the stairs.
Yeah, like Angelico jumps.
Yeah. Or it's just bad things. Doesn't matter who.
Phoenix getting powerbombed into a closet.
Exactly. So they end up making their way over to Dario's office. They end up fighting over the guardrail, and there's 2 times where Mil Muertes tries to throw Matanza off of the top.
Yes.
At one point, he's even like one leg is hanging off of the office.
And then cut to the Asian guy in the audience who's like,
yeah, drop him here. Like, for me, I was freaking out. Like, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Like, I had an idea.
I knew what was going to happen.
Like, what ended up happening was what I thought was originally going to happen. But with Matanza's leg, like, hanging the way it was like, what are they going to do? So then...
Imagine if somebody from the audience just, like, jumped up and grabbed his leg.
Oh, Jesus. Matanza probably would have died.
Got your back, Mil.
Woo! Wham!
The person probably got crushed.
So Matanza's able to actually fight back and do a big back elbow to Mil Muertes, backing him up towards the edge of where the office ceiling is. And so they fight out a little bit. Mil Muertes ends up grabbing him for the flatliner, drops back, and they come crashing through into Dario's office.
And they make a perfectly rectangular hole in the ceiling.
Well, go figure. The crowd chanting, holy shit. We have Dario yelling at Chyna as they both hold their respective items up at each other. And I think Dario was yelling war.
Yes.
So, yeah. Battle line's been drawn, sucker. It's about to go down in Death Town.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why I said that. But then before we went off the air, we had the captain of the task force that Joey Ryan and Officer Reyes were at. She was looking. This was great. I don't know if we can find a picture. I want it up right now, but I don't know if we will. They had deceased. They had bail, but then they had a missing sign, and below was Hernandez, Alberto Del Rio, and Blue Demon Jr. There was Big Rick. There was Big Rick, and there was someone else. So if you know who that 5th person was, post down in the comments because we couldn't tell who it was. So she ends up like pulling the map of Boyle Heights down as what we assume is another cop that she's dealt with, who apparently at one time worked for the governor.
The mayor.
The mayor. That's right. Thank you. because he says that his employer says that she needs to back off the case because his jurisdiction is now in Boyle Heights. And she's like, oh, do you think I really care what the mayor has to say? And he says, no. Someone much more powerful than the mayor.
And then when he leaves, she pounds the desk in frustration.
So, we don't know who he works for. We don't know if it's someone we've already met. We don't know if it's someone who's about to debut. I don't know. Do you know? I know you've read spoilers. Do you have any idea?
Nope.
All right. We are completely in the dark. I'm interested to see where this goes. But that is it for the midweek wrap-up. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video.
Do those things. Share the video with all the people that you love in your life who love wrestling.
And if there's people you hate and you hate us, why are you watching this video? But share the video with people you hate, because maybe they'll like us.
Maybe. And check out all the links we have in the description towards every outlet of social media that we are connected to, including Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram, not limited to just those ones though. And there's a podcast if you don't want to watch the video and you want to hear us on your way to work. If you're in the car and you need to take a drive, so you can't look at the screen, please drive responsibly. Listen to us through your ear holes.
Exactly. That's why we give you that option. Also, if you want to listen to or watch any of the other videos we have, check out the playlist.
Yeah.
Because you'll have podcast links in all of those videos. Because we got the Raw review up right now.
We do.
Coming up next, we'll have the SmackDown rundown.
We will.
And we'll have some indie news
Also true.
as well. So, yeah, no extra videos this week. But
we're going to have extra videos.
Oh, we will.
We're going to have a lot of extra videos. And they won't really be extra because they're going to be on a different channel. It's going to be opening up in a few weeks' time. Corresponding around the time we upload week 100 to the YouTubes. We're starting a secondary channel. It's going to have all sorts of alternative content to what you get here on the Wrestling Rundown, which is just reviews. We review Raw, we review NXT, we review SmackDown, Lucha Underground, and independent wrestling. Here on, or there on the second channel, we will be doing all sorts of opinionative videos, in-depth. You'll get to find out a little bit more about us and our opinions on things. We'll do a lot of more fun things, and Fantasy Warfare is coming back.
Brand new format.
New format, much more competitive.
Yes.
It's actually a competition this time.
Exactly.
So it's going to be fun. Comment what kind of videos you'd like to see on the new page. If we dig your ideas, they will become our ideas, and we will do them, hopefully, if they're within our means.
Exactly.
And especially if they have to do with me hitting him.
No. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at whatever video you decide to watch next.
Yeah. Or in person, if you know where we live.
Weird. It's like The Miz?